A traditional petrological microscope can magnify a geological sample only up to the physical limit of its wavelength. Visible light operates at wavelengths between 400 and 700 nanometers. If a structural feature is smaller than roughly 200 nanometers, the photons cannot resolve it. The object smears into an optical diffraction pattern. We could grind the entire rock into powder to determine its bulk chemistry. However, rocks are heterogeneous. Crushing them destroys the spatial context of phenocrysts and their surrounding matrix, yielding a homogenized average that obscures the rock's actual formation history. To observe at a smaller scale, we must use a smaller wave. We replace visible light photons with a concentrated beam of accelerated electrons. De Broglie established moving particles propagate as waves. His equation proves an electron's wavelength is inversely proportional to its momentum, mass times velocity. Apply a 10 kilovolt potential. The mass remains constant, but velocity accelerates, shrinking the wavelength to 12.25 picometers. Generating a wave at the picometer scale provides the theoretical capacity to bypass the diffraction limit, allowing us to characterize geological materials down to the nanometer scale. What an electron microscope returns are distinct modes of structural data. Here is a three-dimensional topographic map of a microfossil surface. And here is a flat cross-section of a mineral grain. There is zero topography, yet the alternating grayscale bands clearly map the distribution of different elements across the surface. Both the three-dimensional physical map and the two-dimensional chemical map were produced by the exact same instrument, firing the exact same beam of electrons. How does one uniform stream of particles extract two distinct classifications of data? The answer requires us to move past the idea of surface scanning. Instead, we have to map exactly how the immense kinetic energy of the beam dissipates deeply within the target material. The incident electron beam does not simply bounce off the two-dimensional face of the rock. These primary electrons hit the target with thousands of electron volts of energy. They penetrate the atomic lattice, losing that energy through a series of probabilistic scattering collisions. Collision depth is dictated by density. In a light silicon target, electrons scatter widely. In dense gold, penetration is restricted. Mean free path is also governed by accelerating voltage. Dialing energy from 5 to 15 kilovolts forces the beam deeper into the material. The aggregate space carved out by millions of these electron trajectories creates a three-dimensional teardrop. We call this the interaction volume. Every signal returning to the detector, whether X-rays, backscattered electrons, or auger electrons, is born from a distinct depth within this teardrop. To separate physical topography from chemical composition, the microscope is tuned to isolate signals originating from different zones of the volume. The first distinct zone relies on elastic scattering. This occurs when a primary electron alters its trajectory significantly without losing its kinetic energy. An electron travels deep into the lattice, passes close to a heavy nucleus, is violently deflected, and shoots straight back out. The probability of this severe U-turn is inversely proportional to the incident beam energy and directly proportional to the target's atomic number. We classify these high-energy, deflected particles as backscattered electrons. The total fraction of incident electrons that bounce back is the backscattering coefficient. Heavy, dense atoms naturally reflect a much higher percentage of electrons than lighter atoms. For geological materials, this translates directly to elemental mapping. An iron-rich mineral physically deflects far more backscattered electrons than a magnesium-rich mineral. By calculating the volume of returning electrons and assigning them brightness values, the microscope draws an accurate chemical map at sub-micron resolution. This isolates complex intragrain variations, such as a lattice of heavy iron-rich orthopyroxene X solution neatly partitioned inside a lighter clinopyroxene host. Backscattered electron imaging reaches into the deep elastic interaction volume and translates atomic mass directly into visible contrast. We contrast that with inelastic scattering. In these events, the primary beam collides directly with the sample zone electrons, transferring its momentum and losing kinetic energy. The primary beam strikes an electron in the outer conduction band, ejecting it completely. These ejected outer shell particles are secondary electrons. Because the primary beam sacrificed forward momentum to dislodge them, they move in a low energy state, typically under 50 electron volts. To successfully leave the sample, These weak particles must overcome the surface work function, the threshold of energy required to detach from the surface. This imposes a strict geometric constraint. Only secondary electrons generated within the uppermost 5 nanometers of the interaction volume retain enough kinetic energy to break the work function and escape. By exclusively capturing these low-energy particles, the detector ignores the chemical data below. It isolates the extreme outer boundary of the teardrop, yielding physical topography. To maximize this yield on non-conductive geological samples, labs coat the target in a microscopic layer of gold. The dense lattice of outer covalent bonds ensures a high volume of slow secondary electrons off the surface. Elastic backscattered electrons act as a deep chemical sonar. Inelastic secondary electrons read the shallow physical surface. Under a live beam, every one of these events occurs simultaneously at a single impact point. Backscattered electrons punch deep and return chemical density. Secondary electrons clear the surface work function to trace physical topography. Further inelastic scatterings deep in the teardrop also generate characteristic X-rays and Auger electrons, providing tighter elemental fingerprinting. The SEM serves as a multi-channel receiver. It parses an entire spectrum of physical and chemical data from a single nanometer of rock by tracking how energy decays. We calculate picometer wavelengths and track probability scatterings because macroscopic planetary events are encoded at this microscopic scale. Consider a garnet crystal exhibiting symplectitic decomposition, where its irregular edges break down into an intergrowth of orthopyroxene and plagioclase. A traditional bulk analysis destroys this context. Crushing the sample averages the parent garnet and the daughter minerals into a single misleading data point. By applying backscattered electron contrast mapping, we isolate the chemical boundaries of the grain without compromising its structural position. Finding this specific symplectite texture indicates the rock underwent rapid tectonic decompression. It tells geologists that the specific tectonic plate holding this crystal was thrust upward through the Earth's crust. By leveraging the physics of electron scattering, we can reverse engineer the tectonic history of the Earth from a handful of nanometers.